Cargo drivers entering Singapore will need to be tested for COVID-19. The move, which takes effect tomorrow, is designed to manage the risk of imported infections. Only those who test negative at land checkpoints will be allowed to enter. Tan Se-hui with this report.
The new rules at the two border crossings will be rolled out gradually. Authorities say not all will need to take the antigen rapid test, or ART, in the initial stages, and testing will be at random. These will be valid for up to 24 hours or until departure, whichever is earlier. Those entering Singapore through the Woodlands checkpoint get an immigration clearance after getting swabbed. They can proceed to collect their items and receive the results within 30 minutes. The procedure will be somewhat similar at Tuas checkpoint. If a driver tests positive, it means a U-turn back to Malaysia to take a PCR test there. Re-entry into Singapore will only be allowed with a negative PCR test result taken within 72 hours. If the ART result is inconclusive, the individual will have to park at a holding site near the checkpoint for a second ART test. Authorities say they'll ensure operations at the checkpoints are smooth, but they're warning businesses to prepare for possible delays to deliveries.
Cargo drivers say traffic jams on the causeway are par for the course, even as further delays are expected. Gwyneth Teo joins us live now for more on this. Gwyneth, what was the situation like this evening?
Actually, right now behind me, what you're looking at, that is the causeway at Woodlands checkpoint. And you can actually see there's quite a short line of cargo trucks still waiting to cross the border. And it's actually, you can see the end of it because the Malaysian border closes at 7 p.m. So what you're seeing is really the last few trucks who are waiting to cross to Singapore. And this is actually part of the reason why a jam does form on the causeway, we're told, every day, because they can only cross between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So there's a very limited time for these truck drivers to come into Singapore, whereas previously they could come in perhaps as early as 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the normal pre-COVID days. And because of this limited time, that's why this jam actually forms. And of course, here in Singapore as well, it is a normal customs crossing, so authorities also have to do quite stringent checks on the goods that are being imported into Singapore. And one truck driver actually shared with us that it's very normal for him to have to wait for 4 hours here. So once again, this jam is very normal, but we're expecting it to become probably even worse from tomorrow when rapid testing begins, because it does take 30 minutes for the results to be ready of the rapid test. And as my colleague mentioned earlier as well, if the test is inconclusive, the driver will have to go to a separate holding area and take a second test. And you can imagine how that will probably snowball across the day. From what we know of this crossing all the time, the queue here will probably start very, very early in the day, as early as the truck drivers can manage, so that they can cross as quickly as possible, knowing that there will be delays. Now, authorities have also shared with us, however, that they are trying to mitigate these delays in a number of ways. One way is that actually in the initial stage of the rollout from tomorrow, not all drivers will be tested first. It will only be progressively ramped up to cover all drivers in the next few weeks. So hopefully that's one way that delays will not be so long. We've also asked what are some of the measures on the ground that will be in place from tomorrow, whether it's more people, for example, to perform these tests. And we're waiting for a response from the authorities on what these measures are going to be. This used to be one of the busiest land crossings in the world. There used to be 300,000 people making this crossing every day, people coming in to work from Singapore. Right now, it's really trickled only to this, what you saw behind me just now, because of movement controls from both sides of the border last year due to the pandemic. But Singapore is still highly reliant on supplies coming in from Malaysia, food and supplies, things like vegetables, eggs, very basic necessities. So both governments have committed multiple times to keeping this border open. And over the past few weeks, we've also made many inquiries to authorities and supermarkets who have made assurances that even though cases are rising across the border, that has not impacted imports coming in so far.
Anyway, thanks for getting us up to speed. Gwyneth Teo there.